Amish have an ancient method that few know about, and that allows them to preserve almost any food for months, even years. Believe it or not, you can copy this method in just 5 steps. Are you ready? To begin, the first step is to prepare the base of this recipe, a powerful saline solution. I'm going to show you how to do it. For good preservation, the amount of salt is key. We are going to make a strong brine using a salt concentration between 20 and 25%. This means that for every liter of water, we will add between 200 and 250 grams of salt. This proportion ensures that the brine has enough strength to preserve your food effectively. Why do we use so much salt? Salt is a natural preservative that helps stop the growth of bacteria in food. When the Amish preserve their food, they rely on the power of salt to maintain freshness without relying on refrigeration or electricity. But be careful. Be sure to use pure salt without additives for our brine to be truly effective. Avoid table salts that have anti-caking agents or iodine, as these additives can affect the quality of the preserve. Now, here's a special ingredient that the Amish add to their preserves: a little apple cider vinegar. Why? Because it helps improve the acidity balance, which reinforces protection against bacteria. With just a splash of apple cider vinegar, you are giving your preserve an extra defense, and it also adds a subtle touch of flavor. We've got everything ready, so now we're going to make sure our saline solution is completely clean and ready to use, and we do that by boiling it. To make our brine truly safe, it is important that we eliminate any bacteria that might be in the water. So we are going to heat the water until it boils. This step is simple but essential, since it eliminates microorganisms that could damage the preserves. Once the water is boiling, add the salt that we measured before. This also helps the salt to dissolve completely, avoiding lumps in the brine. Remember that it is important that the salt is well distributed so that the entire preserve is protected uniformly. Now comes a crucial step. We let the brine cool to room temperature. Why? Because if the brine is hot when we add the food, it could cook. And we don't want that. The cold brine allows the food to absorb the flavor and benefits of salt and vinegar without altering their texture. Well, while we wait for it to cool, let's take the opportunity to prepare the food we want to preserve. Proper food preparation also makes all the difference in the quality of your preserves. With the brine cooling, it is time to prepare the food that we want to preserve. It does not matter if you are going to preserve vegetables, meat, or fish. Prior preparation is essential for a good result. The Amish take this step very seriously, since each food has its own needs to be preserved properly. For vegetables, wash them well and cut them into pieces that are easy to handle. If you want, you can blanch them briefly, that is, run them through hot water and then cold water. This helps them retain their color and texture better. Blanching can also reduce the time vegetables need to absorb the brine, allowing them to be preserved with a fresher flavor. For meats or fish, be sure to dry them well before submerging them in the brine. This helps the brine adhere better to the meat and achieve a longer preservation. You can also consider curing them a little with dry salt before submerging them in brine, which adds an extra layer of protection. Now that the food is ready, it is time to immerse it in the brine and seal it well. This step is the one that it really ensures that our foods stay fresh for months or even years. Now that we have our cold brine and foods ready, it's time to dip and seal them. This step is crucial to protect the food from any contact with air, which could lead to spoilage. Place the food in a clean jar, preferably glass or ceramic, as these materials do not react with the brine. Make sure you leave some space for the brine to circulate and cover everything well. This space also allows the flavors to distribute evenly throughout the contents of the jar. Pour the cold brine over the food until it is completely submerged. This is important because contact with air can ruin the preserve. So make sure there is no food sticking out. If necessary, use a clean weight or cabbage leaf to press the food down. Here comes another Amish trick. Add a thin layer of oil on top of the brine. This creates an extra barrier against air, keeping food even safer and more sealed. This layer of oil is especially useful for preserving vegetables and keeps the jar protected for longer. Have you ever tried it? Finally, close the jar tightly with an airtight lid. With this extra layer of oil and a good seal, your food will be ready to be preserved for a long time. Now that everything is well sealed, there is only one last step: storage. Let's see where and how to keep our preserves so that they last as long as possible. It is essential to have a place, not only to optimize the conservation, but also the protection of our food for difficult times. We know that a shortage situation can happen at any time, but before we continue with the video, don't forget that if you want to keep expanding your knowledge about food preservation and storage, you can click on the pinned comment after watching this video. There, you'll find a playlist with all the videos in the course. Let's continue. Or something worse. And we will need reserves, so pay close attention to this last step. But remember that in addition to material preparation, we need to prepare ourselves spiritually. Do not forget that Jesus defeated death so that you may have eternal life. He will give you comfort and the hope to overcome any situation. With our jars sealed well, it's time to store them in the right place. To make preserves last as long as possible, it is best to store them in a cool, dry, dark place, such as a pantry or basement. A constant environment is key for the brine to retain its properties without altering the food. These stable spaces help the brine maintain its preservative properties. The cold and darkness also help food stay fresh, even without electricity. The Amish store their preserves this way, relying on nature and technique to ensure freshness. Every few weeks, check your jars. Check that there are no changes in color, smell, or texture. If you notice something strange, it is best to check the bottle and, if necessary, discard the contents. This is just a precautionary measure, but with this Amish method, your food will be protected for a long time. Regular monitoring ensures that you can enjoy your preserves in the best conditions. And that's it. With these steps, you now have the key to preserving food using the Amish method. A simple but powerful technique that does not rely on electricity. Imagine the peace of mind of knowing you have safe, fresh food for months or even years. I would love to know your opinion about this video, and if you can, share a little of your experience or knowledge on the subject. I can't wait to read you in the comments.